A very good afternoon to you, good evening, good morning, depending on the time you are watching this. This is Paul Digital, and my name is Wamboi Ngatia. Now, today we get to dive into a very, very interesting conversation because we've decided to dive into the realm of fatherhood. Now, I know you're going to enjoy this. I know my panelist is going to enjoy this because they are remarkable fathers who are going to be helping us to explore this fatherhood journey. What is it all about? Because they have wisdom, they have insights, they have experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the esteemed guest I have right here. Karibuni sana. Please introduce yourself. Let me start from my far right.
My name is Oscar Omenda. I am a father of three, a boy who is 21. The second one is a girl who is 19. And the third one is a girl who is 14. And so I've been a father 3 times, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And the journey continues.
Wow, never stops.
It never stops.
All
right. My name is George Kimotho. I'm also a father of 3, 2 boys and 1 girl. Firstborn is 8 years. Secondborn is 6 years, and then the lastborn will be a month in 2 days.
Oh, wow. Yes. I love the details.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you can see, I've sat away from the ones who are fathers of 3, because me, I'm a father of only 2. Mm-hmm. But by God's grace, they are not just 2, they are now 4.
Wow.
Because I'm a father of 2 boys who are now married and have grandchildren. Yes, and my name is Timothy Washira.
All right. Karibuni sana, gentlemen.
Asante.
Thank you for creating time to just come and, talk about fatherhood. You know why I said I love the detail is because you fathers don't remember your children's birthdays. What is it all about? Do you remember? Prof, do you remember?
Not only of my children, my daughters, the ones who have come, my grandchildren.
Oh, that's why I'm telling you, how remarkable.
Actually, that happens because, like for me, my secondborn, when they're in the lower primary, the classes I tend to forget which class. But it happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Okay. But maybe let's talk about you. Before you were fathers, you guys were single men, What prepared you to fatherhood? Let's start with Prof.
I don't know what was prepared me to fatherhood, but now that you have asked, I can look back and say my father really prepared me because I loved my father. I lived with him until I was, 22. He passed away when I was 22. But that space is almost a fallback to when I am thinking of myself as a father. But the other one is the fact that by God's grace, I became a Christian early enough and walked the journey in such a manner that I recognized God as my father and related with him in a way that I appreciated that by raising up of my children, they are really not my children. They are God's children. And therefore, I'm only a custodian father. There is a real father who is the father of my children and myself too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. Kimotho, what prepared you to fatherhood?
I would say the society where you grow up. Because unlike Prof, I didn't have the opportunity to be brought up by a father. I was brought up by a single parent. So what I picked from the society. And then I had an early, I got born again when I was very young. And so I got involved in the church. And from there, I learned from a lot of men, good values and good morals, and I could interact with their families. And that, to a great extent, prepared me to what I am today.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Oscar, did you have a good relationship with your father, and how did it prepare you, if yes?
Yeah, maybe just I was looking forward to answering the first question.
Okay.
You've asked me a different question.
Okay.
So allow me to answer
you
the
prefer
other
the
question.
first one. All right.
No, I'll answer the other one. But
Okay. Cool.
so what prepared me really was my father. I had the privilege and grace of growing with my father till up to when I left home with a clear mind, going to get married. And my father was an example to me. Then I got involved with church very early. And so in church, I saw good examples of fathers. And that really impacted my idea of a father and parenting in general. But also besides that, my pastor, who was my friend as well, had a huge influence on me with regards to fatherhood. I had my father who was modeling fatherhood to me, and I also saw my pastor who then was modeling spiritual and godly fatherhood, biblical fatherhood with his children, and his son was my best friend, so I saw him at close range. So my father and the church community shaped my understanding and belief in fatherhood. Yes.
All right. I love that because here I can see we are joined by a panel of, to the extreme. He was raised up by a single mother and he ended up really well, because he's raising children right now. Had a good relationship with a father who brought a good example. Really awesome. And there was that first time you guys held your first baby, the very first time you were told you're going to be a father. Professor, you became a dad before, this gentleman. How was it like? What was going through your mind? Now you have held your first baby boy.
I got married.
Yeah.
I started anticipating, hey, this might end up with children. And so there was a mental preparation that was begun. And then there was pregnancy. And we were going through the whole process. You are feeling the baby. And so the whole idea that now you are getting into being a father, had already started building up.
Yeah.
And then comes the day that you hold the baby. Now I will diverge into some information that might shock a few of the young people, but maybe prepare them. I was there in the delivery room. So it's not when I held the baby, it's when we facilitated the delivery together with the doctor.
Wow.
And therefore, I was a recipient of the baby even before my wife knew and saw the baby. And it was a very exciting time.
Wow. Delivery room. All right. Oscar.
When I was in college, and having given you the background of examples of fathers in my life, it was in my heart that I'd have loved to be a father, and I knew I wanted to have a family. So the first steps is get a good, single, God-fearing young lady to marry.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, that did happen. A beautiful, good lady I got. And then we got married, and the journey starts with the pregnancy. That's, in a sense,
Sure.
when kind of actual fatherhood begins.
Yeah.
We are pregnant. Good news. It's exciting. It's because I have friends who have not been able to conceive, not been able to get children. So that was a lot of good news for us. And then the 9 months is like an anticipation period as you walk with her, because at this particular point, it's your wife and the child that you are caring for.
Yeah.
And that's another journey in and of itself. That's where your fatherhood kind of begins. How are you treating the mother of the child to come? And again, back to biblical principles, how are you treating your wife? Because how you treat her, then also how will you treat the children that come? So that's where it kind of begins. And since the cat is off the bag, I was also in the delivery room. And I got to see the child before my wife saw him. And it is a God moment. It is a God moment that you are participating with God in bringing another human being on earth. He's bestowed on us that opportunity to be like co-creators with him. And this is when it now comes confirmed. So it was a very exciting moment. You hold the baby, say a prayer, look at them, and all manner of things go through your mind. And then the journey begins. We go home and we start. So the excitement, as we said earlier, just takes a new form. They come home, you're looking at them sleeping. When they're crying, you're caring for them. So the journey goes. Excitement comes in different phases and stages, and it continues.
Wow. Did that happen with your 3 children? You were in the delivery room?
Yes, I was in the delivery room for all 3. Though I think by the 3rd one, you already kind of used to, so a bit in a sense. But yeah, it still is a God moment.
All right.
Yeah, it's a moment you've never seen.
I can see it in your eyes.
It is said. I think it's a joke. It's said that the men who come and say, "Yeah, I'm coming in." And then when things start, he says, "Let me just pick a call."
You know?
Let me step out and pick a call.
Because it takes strength, you know.
They come back after 3 days. They appear after 3 days. And there are those who've passed out here as well. So it's all God's grace.
It's all God's
Yeah.
grace.
Yeah.
All right.
But it is exciting. It's a very, very interesting moment, time, and feeling. Yeah.
Kimotho, is it the same way?
The first 2, I am like what he has said. I got scared. I told them, I'm outside here. Let me see the baby once they come.
You are right, Oscar, you are right.
But the 3rd one, I chose to go to the delivery room. Yeah.
You had gained the courage.
Yes, I had gained the courage, yes. Yeah, but you hear stories of people who have passed out. I have a friend who passed out. So, yeah, you hear all manner of stories, so I chose not to enter. But the 3rd one, I had the courage. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, but it's an amazing, amazing, amazing feeling.
Now that feeling, did it continue? Is it still there up to date, or it's a moment?
Actually, it's not a moment because every children are like the last born, just a month, and every day I go home, you see a significant change from what you left. And so every day there is something, those milestones they are hitting, and it's getting more exciting. And so it's not a moment per se, but there is that significant feeling on the first birth. But even after that, there is still that joy of bringing up the children. Yes.
Are there things you stopped doing from probably being told either by your friends, your mentors, because you're a father and you decide, hey, I'm not going to be doing this and this. I'm not going to be hanging around certain people and all that.
Those are decisions you make on a daily basis because God has bestowed this responsibility, huge responsibility on you.
Yeah.
And so there are decisions you make on a daily basis. Who do I relate with? Because that is, children do not adopt to what you are telling them mostly, but to what you are living out. They see, they do. And so you must be conscious of who are you bringing home? How are you talking? How are you relating with people? How are you relating with co-workers or anyone else? And so you must be always conscious that they are looking and they are adopting to what your life. And so that is very important that you keep that into consideration.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about the role of a father in a child's life. I know that society, the patriarchal, expectations from a man, talking about the 5 Ps. You should be a priest, you should be a prophet, a promoter, a provider, all that. Do you guys feel so much pressure in all that? Because that is supposed to be one person, a father. Mind you, you don't have just one child. You have more than one child. Professor, how does that work for you?
That division, I don't think I have a very clear line, that division between me and my wife. So I tend to take it that we are parents together and work together. And there are places where that is emphatically important, that you work together, and not that me, I'm a father, and that's a mother, and you have a role, and my role. It works best when it is the two of you. You are first and foremost a husband and wife who love each other under the fear of God. And then now when your responsibility, you up your responsibility slightly more, when you say you are the provider, that doesn't mean that the wife is not providing. When you say you are the disciplinarian, that doesn't mean that the wife does nothing. It's only an issue of slight emphasis. And that it is you who is in charge of the home, but all of you are doing it together. The responsibility, yes. Feeling this is my responsibility. And even when they are grown up and they have left home, I still have a feeling it's my responsibility. I know I had put like a mark that my responsibility before God was up to when they are 21. Because the bringing up a person beyond there, I'm not bringing up a person, but they will never stop being your children, and they will never stop calling you a dad, and they will never stop looking up to you, and therefore, as Kimodo has said, they are still looking up to me as a role model. They are still looking up to me as a father at that particular age. Not a father at 30 or 40 or 50, now a father of that particular age. And therefore, there are things they are learning of how to be a father at that level.
We are parents, okay? And so we working together to raise these children. And one of the things that is critical in that process is actually we are shepherding their hearts, primarily to point them to Christ, but also to equip and enable them to be able to live and survive in society. And so it falls back to why we came together. And the first thing is make sure you are doing everything possible to have the home, the family, as a nurturing place for the children to grow wholesomely and holistically, primarily in the Lord, as a first primary place where they'll be taught about the Lord, and then all these other things shall be added. And so the first role as a father is to make sure you're living with the mother of the children, which is my wife. We live, I do everything possible to keep the marriage going and held in the bonds of marriage as God would have them. Then as we raise the children, we have differences. And so I'll take us back to how God created us. He created them male and female. So we are different, but we are one. So there's a paradox in there. We're different, but we're one. But that difference, there's a complementarity that comes with it, which makes us a team. And that's where the power of marriage is in. All right? So there are things that I'm good at. There are things that my wife is good at. And so we raise the children together. And so I wouldn't think that it's been a burden, and that doesn't mean there have not been hard times. I've looked forward to fatherhood and parenting. I have enjoyed it, and I continue to. And I know it's all by the grace of God. Depending on God, God has given us a blueprint on how to raise children and also maintain a family for them. And with that, we are striving to keep to the straight and narrow. And so it's not a burden as such. Actually, it is a joy. But it has responsibilities, if I may put it that way, that sometimes may look burdensome, but sometimes brings a lot of joy. Yeah.
When you talk about the burdensome, is it like the pressure of wanting to be like the best father?
Not really. It's more like, am I shepherding them right to be who they should be in life? One of the things is I'm praying for my children to get born again, for example. And sometimes you see behaviors and characters that are 180 degrees on the opposite side. So you bear some of the challenges that come with raising them as children, as preteens, as teenagers, you know. So there are times of correction. And if you don't do it well, then it becomes even worse. But there are times of correction, and how you model, as he said, you model the attributes and characters that you would want them to see in you, in the family, then that becomes an issue. And sometimes we also fail, right? Sometimes we also fail. I have a conflict with my wife. How do I handle it? They're watching, they're learning.
Kimotha, is it the same for you? What has been your experience in terms of your role in the family?
We decided that we will do it together as one. And we must also be conscious of the fact that we are not guaranteed of tomorrow. It's in the hands of God. And so every parent must be ready to take that responsibility fully when the other one is not there. And so you cannot say that I will leave everything to my partner or the other. And then what happens after if, for example, one passes?
Yeah.
So I feel I have the responsibility to prepare my wife in such instances. And so we do it together. Discipline, providing, everything we do together. And so that helps to also have continuity in the family.
Wow.
That's how I see it. Yes.
I like that. Say where there is unity, God commands a blessing.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that's why you guys are blessed, because you look really blessed. You know, like the unity of just raising the children together and all that. I know the children come in different characters. Everybody's coming with probably this is introverted, extroverted, different temperaments, and again also bringing up boys, bringing up girls. They're all brought up in different ways. How do you ensure that you're a father to each? And how do you handle their different characters?
Let me, maybe whether this fits in or not, let me say it.
Okay.
One of the things we discussed with my wife is to bring them up in such a manner, and I hope we succeeded, that no one will ever feel the other one was loved more than me. Whether one is sharper than the other, or whether one does this type of chore and the other one does the other type of chore, whether one is introvert and the other one is an extrovert, you are like, is to try to avoid a situation where the kid feels this one is preferred. So we were making every effort, and if we saw any inclination in the other, and my wife will tell, hey, you're crossing the line, and I would do the same.
Yeah.
But yes, they certainly are not identical. I never got identical boys. I got two different boys. They were different ages. They were 2.5 years difference. They had different inclinations. But that was the beauty. That even up to now, we really appreciate that, because you have the whole of the spectrum of it, in that you have one who loves that and the other one loves the other. But by God's grace, they love each other. And so when we come together as a family, it's a bringing of the different attributes that make the whole family great. And then they got wives that also have different attributes. So the mosaic picture of in the family is a beauty.
And I know, let me ask you still on your prof.
Yeah.
I know your children now, all grown, went out and got married. Before they got married, they went out of your house. Or did they just go?
They went.
They went to get married?
No. They first of all left the house,
live alone.
and then later they got married. Yes.
All right. So maybe before they got married, how do you parent your child when they are in their own house and they are probably paying their own rent?
The parenting, you will never be able to say, now I'm starting to parent. It has to be a continuum. And the part of now to come to yours is the fact that I had created, by God's grace, a relationship. We appreciated each other. We loved each other. we had things in common. So there were things that we would appreciate each other, and I could talk to them about their issues. They would come, even when they were away, they would still come home. They would bring their girlfriends at home. There was a lot of interaction. It never felt they are gone. So they were still coming home quite a lot.
All right.
Yes.
So the secret is in the relationship.
It's in
you
relationship.
Have built with
Create a relationship so that it moves beyond father-child relationship. It comes into a person-to-person relationship of a friendship.
All
So
right.
that they are still looking at you as a father, respecting you as a father, but that respect is toned down by the friendship, and that creates a good way of relating, and it helps in the mentorship.
Wow. That's a good way to take a break, because we're going to take a short one. And it's also an end of an episode. We're going to be having an episode 2, but let's take a breather and then we'll be back. But before then, I have something for you guys. I want you guys to write something, and I have some things from Pearl Radio that I'm going to be giving you, and then just a little exercise for you. Yeah? So this is a notebook and a pen from Pearl Radio. Yeah. And I'll tell you what to write about when we take the break. Then we're going to be reading that at the end of the episode. So keep it Pearl Digital. We'll be right back. But again, this episode is over. But watch out for the next episode.